Hello, friends. Welcome to Story Behind Podcast. This is the show for people who love hearing a good story and who believe the world could use more positivity. We're the team behind GodUpdates and God2, and we hope these weekly short stories will brighten your day.
Elderly pen pals turn 100 and have been writing letters for more than 80 years. Written and read by Alyssa Forsberg. A pair of elderly pen pals have recently turned 100 years old after writing to each other for the past 80 years. Geoff Banks from Devon, England, and Celesta Bryn from New Jersey have set the record for the world's oldest pen pals. In 1938, after being paired up during an educational project, Geoff and Celesta started writing to each other at just 16 years old. And 84 years later, the two are still pen pals. Somehow I ended up with this letter from an American girl, and we just kept writing ever since, shared Geoff. The two even continued to keep in touch while Geoff was serving in World War II. But Celesta shared that even after all these years of communication, they never became romantically involved. "We're just friends, like people who live next door," said Celesta. "She's a very interesting person. She's always been there to write to, even if it was just birthday cards and Christmas cards," Geoff shared. "In one of my early letters, I sent her a copy of a British paper in 1953, which had Queen Elizabeth II's coronation on the front of it. But we generally just chat about daily lives and our families and put the world to rights, you know?" When putting pen to paper became more difficult for Geoff, the pen pals switched to sending emails back and forth. And recently, they had their first Zoom call together. "It's nice to hear his voice," Celesta said. After all those years of writing, the 100-year-olds only met for the first time in 2002, when Geoff was visiting New York during Christmas. They reunited again 2 years later when Celesta had Geoff over for lunch at her home in New Jersey when he was in the area. What a sweet story about a friendship that has stood the test of time.
Hi, I'm Zach.
And I'm Randy.
And we're from Salty Saints Podcast. We're a theology and apologetics podcast.
To find out more, subscribe at lifeaudio.com.
How an unborn twin saved her sister in the womb by forcing an early delivery. Written by Heather Riggleman. Read by Alyssa Forsberg. There are so many ways God can save our lives, and in this case, it was an SOS signal from an unborn twin. That's right, this is an incredible story of how an unborn twin saved her sister in the womb by forcing an early delivery. We all know that one sibling. You know, the one that shouts louder than the rest of us, that gets the attention of everyone, not just our parents. My mother calls my brother and me Irish twins. We were born less than a year apart, and despite Mikey being developmentally delayed, he always knew when I was in distress. It didn't matter what the issue was, he knew something was wrong and always managed to get my mom's attention. This annoyed me in high school, but I know he saved my life at least once. This is just a brother knowing his sisters so well. But in this story, it's about twin sisters in the womb. Poppy McBride was the little sister. Even though she weighed 1 pound and 11 ounces, as tiny as she wasn't about to be ignored or take no for an answer. As the unborn twin grew in the womb side by side with her big sister Winnie McBride, Poppy knew something was wrong. Poppy realized her sister Winnie was in distress, so she raised so much fuss that the doctors realized they needed to deliver both twins. That's when they discovered Winnie was in trouble. Even though she was the bigger sister and weighed more than 3 pounds, had Poppy not sent distress signals, Winnie may not have survived. Our doctors told us, "I think your tiny twin saved her sister's life." Poppy's heart rate had been all over the place, so they had to deliver. But when she was born, she was completely fine, their mother, Leah McBride, said. Leah McBride delivered the twins at 31 weeks. Even though Winnie McBride weighed as the bigger twin at 3 pounds and 8 ounces, she had some serious medical issues. Her lungs weren't developed, and she also needed surgery to relieve the fluid buildup in her brain. The doctors were shocked that Poppy was perfectly healthy, even though she was the smaller of the two precious girls. They think she was sending out distress signals because she knew her sister wouldn't survive if they weren't delivered then. Even now, Poppy takes care of Winnie, though she is still much smaller, their mom Leah said. Now Poppy and Winnie McBride are home and thriving. We can thank God for the blessings of little sisters and how one sweet and feisty sister helped save her sister's life. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Psalm 139:14.
Thank you so much for listening to Story Behind Podcast. We're really glad you joined us for this week's story. To see photos and videos that may have been referenced in this episode, check out the links in the show notes. And if you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe to our podcast, and please tell a friend about us. We'd also love it if you'd rate us and leave us a review. It really does help more people find us. Story Behind is a Salem Web Network production.